welcome to Startup Out of the Box, a regular podcast about startups with Marco Silva and Vitor Domingos.
On this episode, we're going to talk about what to do when a top performer leaves the company, how to manage morale when a well-liked employee also leaves the company, so the kind of both sides of the same coin, and finally, as the last topic, top 10 reasons why startups fail. So going directly into the first one, so everyone has their own top performer within the company, someone that does most of the work, it hits the performance, delivers everything that we need to do, but
sometimes they leave.
They want to pursue another challenge or go to work to another company. How do we, as a manager, as a CEO or as a CTO, how do we deal with that, right? So what's going to be the natural steps for us to take any kind of feedback into account, and also how do we deal with this kind of loss within the company?
And
so
this affects any company of any size. It's not just startups. Startups usually has a bigger impact because it's usually like 5 employees, something like that. So one person leaving has a big impact, but it affects any company of any size, of any industry.
Yeah. So any tips for this? I think that the first one is the other person is also a human, right? So we need to understand the reasons behind that, what motivates that person to leave the company, right? So is he or she unhappy with the company, with the work? They want to pursue a different challenge. Can we give that challenge to them within the company? So I would say that have this kind of open and honest conversation with the person that's going to leave. Well, first of all, acknowledge that actually they want to leave, because sometimes a top performer just gambles with this kind of situation, right? So he tells that he wants to leave, or he got an offer from other company just to negotiate any kind of salary increase and different position within the company.
That's something that happens a lot, but that can backfire.
Exactly. So bottom line, we need to understand what happens. Oh, fucking God.
Estas pessoas chegam aqui, interrompem tudo.
Pá, é um barulhão do caraças, isto não se pode estar aqui, meu.
Eu acho que nós tínhamos mudado de casa.
Sério?
Está meu landlord favorito.
Pá, man, porta isto. Estamos.
Olá.
Vá, mestre. Começamos a partir de onde? Não vamos começar desde o início. Vamos começar.
Só vou falar do tópico. Nós falámos para começarmos o tópico. Agora, tudo, aquilo que a introdução toda, pá, deixa estar. Cortas aí. Ou queres fazer tudo seguido, às vezes tens de cortar e está o início e está a andar.
Não, arranjo forma de cortar isto, porque a nossa conversa estava bastante interessante. Portanto, onde é que a gente ia? When the top performance leaves, so he has this kind of two situation, right? So he wants to negotiate or gamble his position, so or his or her position, when probably someone outside in the market reach out to this person and they want to hire him, and then he returns to the company and says, well, listen, I got a different offer, so can we do something different? So I think that at the end we need to understand the reasons behind what motivates this person to actually leave the company, and we need to understand that. Usually this is done through an exit interview, right? So where we ask what do they think about these years or months that they work for us, what went wrong, what went bad, and we as managers need to understand actually those reasons, right? Because some of them might be against ourselves, against the company, right? Because we did something that person didn't like and motivates that.
And that might affect other people that might want to leave the company in the future.
Exactly.
So you can prepare yourself. Okay, let's try to fix this before other people decide to leave.
Clearly, so as I said, understand the real motivations for this person and listen to their feedback or complaints or suggestions. That's the kind of what we need to do. And
one of the biggest thing is, if usually some people can see when this will happen, if it's because of reasons, because of the company, and if most of the reasons that people when that person leaves and they tell like I'm leaving the company because X, Y, and Z, if this is the first time that you are hearing about these problems, then you might have other issues in the company regarding feedback, regarding one-to-ones, that you because those reasons shouldn't be a surprise.
Exactly.
But of course, if an employee leaves because they got a new opportunity, that's something that you can control.
You need to acknowledge that first.
Acknowledge.
Yeah. And then continue with the exit interview and try to understand the real motivations behind this person leaving. And also, actually, don't postpone any kind of decisions, because try to do this as removing a band-aid, right? So
it's quick
it
and
needs to be
fast.
quick, because then it can affect the morale within the team, and we're going to discuss that in the next topic. Because if he's really a top performer, then it will affect the entire company. So we need to move forward and fast on this. Finally, and this is the kind of the last one. So treat the person that is leaving as a person, and not just as someone that you probably gonna hate, or because he's gonna lose you some money or some contracts, but actually someone that worked for you. It is a top performance, and you need to understand the real reasons, and at the end it's just a person, and you need to understand
They have to
real
follow their
motivators.
life. You follow. It's not their company, and you have to understand that.
And be open about that kind of feedback.
Yeah.
For the second topic, so which is the other side of the coin, how to manage morale within the team when someone that team liked leaves. Let's say that it's kind of the same top performers, right? So probably because sometimes the top performer are not just the most likable people within the
Might
company.
happen, yeah.
But let's assume that we're talking about the same kind of type of person. Suggestions about when someone that we really like within the team leaves. Well,
at this point, I think you're okay. You have the management side of it, so dealing with why the person is leaving, like we've spoken about. So yeah, it's more about the team. So it's showing the team that the company recognizes the work that this person has done. They recognizes the value that this person has brought to the company, and it's a farewell exit and wishing good luck to this person. Because if this person is really respected in the company and they decide to leave, and the first thing you do is try to stab them and insult them in front of everyone, you will lose the credibility and respect from everyone in the company. And they will start losing for alternatives, because they will think, well, if this is how they treat him, then he was one of the and he was one of the most valuable members of our team, and we
like this person. So imagine what will happen to me.
Yeah.
Right?
So be respectful about it.
Yeah.
Talk about it, and try to do it quick also, because don't prolong the exit process, which will make things a bit awkward.
Exactly. But overall, any kind of response that you do to your own team or to the company, you need to take time to consider what you're going to answer. And when you just said do a leave party and not miss you party, right? So everyone's going to be missed, that's for sure. But it's going to be farewell, as in we're going to exit in good mood, rather than just say, well, everyone is crying because you will be missed. You're not going to be replaced. Of
course, you have some companies that like to do it just with send an email to the entire team saying this person left the company.
Exactly.
And no one else knows anything more about that person. Like this disappeared.
From the map.
That usually sends alarm bells everywhere.
From working from within bigger companies, this is pretty much what happens. So you get a call from your manager to say, well, listen, we need to talk. A few hours later, you're handling your badge, your laptop, and everything that you have, and no one knows ever about you. So maybe next time you're going to have a team meeting and we ask, well, how's X? Oh, X left the company 3 weeks ago. Why? We never heard of that. So no one gets any kind of feedback. But that's kind of
unless
the bigger.
you're a VP.
Yes, exactly. and even that I remember from a company that I was working, Computer Sciences Corporation. So the first one before I joined Unisys. One of the senior VPs was let go, as in fired, and everyone got an email saying that he was really valuable to the company and he will be missed and stuff like that. And actually, he was fired. He didn't left. So that is the kind of the wrong feedback that brings to the team. But bottom line, how to manage morale. So get to know the people, draw this kind of party of leave party. Understand how the morale of the
Mhm.
team is after this.
And
Work
acknow-
with that and
acknowledge what that person has and for the company.
exactly, and in a good way, and,
Yeah.
and promote that internally, because everyone then will feel good and appreciate it if you do this.
And of course, we're not telling you to do this to everyone. There will be people that will leave the company for reasons that are not good.
exactly.
And also in that situation, be honest with the team.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. Be honest and have and take your time to consider the answer or the response that you're going to give when someone leaves. Last topic is the top 10 reasons
20.
why top 20 reasons. Oh, we're just going to do 10 because
We have more.
we don't have time for this. No one has time to top 20 reasons. So let's start with the first top reason why startups fail. No market need. I think this is kind of obvious. Right.
Yeah.
So first of all, the
So
out-
Uber for dogs, Uber for dog food, Uber for
yeah,
so
there's no market. But that's
validate your market quickly.
exactly validate your market. See
And
if
your
there's-
market is not your cousin or your mother.
Yeah, exactly. Or your own need. Well, sometimes startups are created because someone needed something,
Yeah.
and then later on they figure out that actually there are more people with this kind of need, right? But overall, if you're going to do some kind of market research, see if there's a really kind of intent on it, if there is any kind of market for the idea that you're gonna do.
Yep.
Second reason, ran out of cash. I think this is also quite obvious,
And
right?
it's quite interesting because a few weeks ago I was in a startup event, and I was hearing two people talking, and one of them says, well, and he just asked us what our burn rate was, and for me that was quite surprising because it's free money. Who cares?
Free money.
Yeah, talking about the VC money they had received. So it was
Free.
like, yeah, what's the burn rate? Yeah, who cares about that? It's free money. Who cares what the burn rate is?
So they're gonna be. It's gonna be a very interesting ride for that
Yeah.
company. Right, running out of cash, then not having the right team, and we've discussed this at least two times on this
People.
exactly.
Technology.
technology process. No, sorry, process technology.
Yeah.
Get out competed,
Yep.
which is the competition will surpass you, and you do something that someone else is going to do better and faster than you.
Yep.
That's kind of normal.
It's not a one lap race now. It's a marathon, and everyone is racing to get to the end of this massive race.
Pricing cost issues. I think this is also kind of the correct one. So you're going to charge a lot for your product, or it's not up to market.
Are you going
when
to
it comes to
charge
cost.
less and you won't make a profit out of it?
Exactly.
Pricing is difficult. So if you know people that did something similar to you or a similar type of service but in a different area, try talking to them, get some advice on how to price it, do some research on YouTube videos, how to price your product, because pricing is difficult.
I remember on my startup, we wanted to acknowledge how much a user would be worth, and we pretty much used the same kind of model that Google created a few years ago, right? So how much is it worth for a Google user to Google? That's the kind of model that we used to create this kind of value, because our service was free, but we wanted to sell to advertisers, so we had to figure out how much a user would cost or would be valued to someone to invest in this product. If you're just selling the product, just compare against the market and do it better, or make it really competitive. Yeah, exactly.
And we learned that on our side when we created Binary Edge. Our first version of the product was 100% API based. We thought, come on, we're technical people, this is going to be easy. It's just an API, we don't have to build a UI. Yeah, no.
That's not gonna happen.
No. 6 months later, we were building the UI because we realized, it's easier to show people, to demo people. Even if we have an API and we're talking to technical people, they want something just easy to give me a web panel where I can log in and do something before I touch the API and figure out how the API works. It is important.
Yeah. And a product without a business model, I think this is the kind of everyone that starts a company wants.
Please have a business model.
That's kind of the opposite. Remember,
Well-
you need first a product, then to develop business model.
Yeah.
The thing is, everyone develops their own business model and then starts the product.
Okay, so let me rephrase how I say the business, because the business model, if you're creating a startup, you're not gonna know what your sales are gonna be in 5 years or 10 years. You're just like, okay, I think the wind is turning that side, so it's gonna be. But at least have an idea how you're gonna make money.
Yeah.
At least that.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
there's a lot of startups out there. If you ask them, are you gonna make money? Most of them don't
They
know
don't
how
know.
to answer you.
Yeah,
So please at least think about how to
Yeah.
make money.
exactly. Then poor marketing. If you don't invest in marketing, then people will not know about your product or your company. You ignore customers, and we discussed about this, how to listen to customers and clients and understand what they want from the product. And then the product is out of season, which means that it's either early in the market or too late in the market, right? So it's completely out of for people to want it.
Yeah.
To want it, and that's kind of the top 10. We have 10 more. Do you want to highlight any that you find it?
Yeah, I'll
kind
just
of
go
interesting?
quickly. So the other reasons are lose focus. So people just go one direction, other direction,
Yeah.
and they want to go everywhere. There's no harmony between the investors and the founding team. That's usually
Yeah.
one of the main reasons also.
Like a passion. And I would pretty much put two of them in the same side, which is the first one when you try to pivot and it's gone sideways, and the last one is where you actually need to pivot and you can't because you're just stuck to the stuff that you want to build.
Or you
So
being
you need-
stubborn.
Exactly, you need to have this kind of flexibility to understand when you need to pivot, and if it pivot is going to go bad, you need to pivot again to something else.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. As it. So you wanted to develop something on an API, then you have to pivot to something else to show people.
Yeah,
how
it
the
was
whole
an
thing.
improvement, but yeah.
Let's not call it a pivot. I know.
It
how
was
to-
an improvement on top of it. We didn't change the market. It's still same market, still same product, just a new UI.
That's okay. Right. So this is Startup Out of the Box episode 19.
19, yes.
That's it. And see you next week. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.